We'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Our typical secretary is unable to be with us here tonight, so our stand-in secretary is going to be Mr. Doherty. Can you do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Roll call. Dr. Perbola is absent. Mr. Burke? Here. Mrs. Eckert?
Here.
Mr. Farr?
Here.
Mrs. Goebel?
Here.
Mr. Greenlee? Absent. Dr. Oshirik?
Here.
Mr. Franco?
Here.
Mrs. Arnold?
Here. All right, let the record show that we held an executive session immediately prior to this meeting for some personnel matters and a, what would you call the other?
The audit.
The audit review, which we'll be voting on tonight and will be available on the website tomorrow. All right, do we have any superintendent remarks?
Always. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to address our board and the Tiger community. I like the new setup. I have to say I like it. I like our staff over more in the middle. As you may have noticed, our school board secretary, Mrs. Lawson, couldn't be here tonight. She may even be at home watching. If she is, Mrs. Lawson, please forgive me in advance, as I certainly won't be as efficient or effective in managing and documenting everything that is occurring during the meeting. I'll do my very best, but there's no way I'll come as close to doing things as well as you do. You know, this evening during our meeting, the board will be asked to approve the 2024-25 independent audit report. You know, I'm very, very proud to say that we are in a healthy and strong financial position. You know, since my arrival in February of 2022, you know, I've prioritized finding ways to increase our financial strength. And I think that my team and I have done a pretty good job at that. We have a healthy fund balance that puts us in an advantageous position of being able to handle almost any cost that comes our way, or in the event of a delay in state funding that we may have to overcome, similar to last year. You know, having a healthy fund balance really allows us to address unexpected expenses, such as a boiler breaking, or when the state doesn't pass a budget on time, or even when the governor's proposed budget provides very, very little additional funding for rural school districts, which is the case again this year. You know, last year, I'm proud to say that we didn't have to take a loan to make payroll when the state funding was delayed by over 130 days. You know, having a healthy fund balance will also allow us to address some larger capital needs. You know, we're very proud of our buildings. They're in excellent shape, and we work diligently to maintain them. You know, we will also be taking a look at some larger capital projects that have been pushed off until we were in a stronger position. So we're going to take, look at some items on our wish list and get them in front of the board for consideration. Due to our very strong financial health, I can confidently state, and I will confidently state, that come budget time in April, I will be recommending that the board pass for the 26-27 budget, pass the budget with a 0 millage increase. So that will be my recommendation. You could have it 2 months early, but that will be the recommendation that I put out there in April. I'm thrilled to report that our famous Tiger Band is back from Florida. They performed at Disney last Monday, and they got to spend a few days at the parks. Our band is they're so talented. I'd like to say thank you to our music staff, especially band director Ken Lucky. You know, it's not an easy task to take, 2 buses over 85 students with instruments to on the road, much less to Florida, and that's a large task, taking such a large group. You know, their trip was a huge success. I'm very proud of our students. They represent our school district and our community in such a positive manner. So great job, Tiger Band. And believe it or not, winter sports is winding down. As we get closer to the end of winter sports season, I'd like to take a moment to thank and congratulate our winter sports athletes, especially our seniors. You know, our student athletes dedicate a large amount of their time and their hard work to represent our school district on the court, on the mat, and in the pool, and they're good at it. And I'm very proud at how well our athletes represent our schools and our community. You know, it's worth mentioning that our swimmers continue to break all types of records this season, and we have a very, very strong group of swimmers this year. By the next month's board meeting, so by next month's board meeting, spring sports will already be underway. In fact, it'll be underway by 2 weeks already. The first day of spring sports is Monday, March 2nd, and that's less than 2 weeks from now. I know it doesn't look like it outside, but we will be outside practicing. The school year, it really is going by quickly. Before you know it, we're going to be in the stadium for graduation. You know, I wanted to touch on one more thing tonight. Those that know me, you know that I'm not a fan of social media, not even a little. I don't think it's good business to respond to social media comments, but feel in this case a response may be warranted. You know, among a few of our community members, there appears to be a misunderstanding about our usage of the phrase in our schools, restricted movement. Let me tell you, a restricted movement, it's not a lockdown, not even close. It's much less restrictive. During a restricted movement, there is no immediate danger that exists to the school. Please remember, you know, we're a large organization. We have over 2,000 students and staff in our schools each day. With the sheer number of people on campus, there's going to be times when an immediate action is necessary. If we go into a restricted movement, which is not often, it is typically for a medical issue involving either an adult or a child, in that they're being transported at that point to the medical room, or if a child is being transported to another area of the school. You know, a restricted movement is solely designed to maintain the dignity of the adult or child that is being moved to another area of the school without having hundreds of sets of eyes witnessing the event. You know, a restricted movement typically lasts 3 to 5 minutes. And during the restricted movement, classroom instruction doesn't stop. Classroom instruction and activities, they continue normally. You know, the goal during a restricted movement is simply to have the hallways clear to maintain the dignity of the person in need. You know, the general meaning of some of our security terms, including restricted movement, you know, we don't hide it. You could find it on our website under the security tab. Take a look. As always, thank you very much for the opportunity to share some things with our board and community. We have an excellent school district. At all three schools, we are blessed to have such strong teachers, talented students, and staff members that prioritize the needs of our students. We also get to work with wonderful families that continually support our school district. And I can't think of a better place to come each and every day. Thank you very much, President Arnold.
You've got one more thing.
One more thing. I think the board may want to consider an amendment to the agenda and add an additional out-of-state field trip on behalf of the robotics team. So at this point, to Mount Olive, New Jersey. I think it is in the first week of March, if I'm correct, prior to our next board meeting date. So after consulting to see the legality around if it complies with Sunshine, we think that this does comply with Sunshine, adding it on the floor at this point, as long as there's public comment. So I would like a motion to consider allowing the robotics team to attend a tournament in Mount Olive, New Jersey. I think it's on March 6th, for March 6th through March 8th. It'll be 2 overnight, but it is also out of state, which we also always ask the board to approve. So,
Superintendent, I think maybe we should have a board vote on whether to open the agenda and include that motion first, before you vote on the actual motion.
Okay.
Motion to open the agenda?
Second. Laura motions. Paula, second.
motion to, all right, slow down.
Open the agenda.
Open agenda. All right, so that was Laura.
Carolyn, if you're not watching now, I know you're going to watch later, and I miss you.
And can
Do we have any discussion
Nope.
on that?
Full.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Ayes have it. All opposed? Okay, now we need a
After we
motion.
make the motion, so I'd like to make the motion to put the out-of-state robotics trip on the agenda.
And we'll do it, we'll vote to approve it under the regular field trip item. So we're not approving that, because that way, if anybody has public comment on it, they can before we vote.
Correct.
But we're just voting to add it to the agenda under the field trip section.
Yep.
So that was Paula's motion,
I'll second.
Laura's second. Any discussion? Can we do a voice vote?
Yes, you may.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Okay. All right, with that, thank you for your comments and unending support for our students and our teachers in the district. It's appreciated. We got a lot of good stuff going on here. We'll now open the floor for public comment on agenda items only. There'll be another public comment period at the end. If you have public comments that you'd like to make, please come up to the podium, which is moved probably about 12 feet to your right. State your name and your municipality and your comment for the board. Do we have any public comment on agenda items?
Hi, my name is Maddie McCrossan. I'm a former student here. I don't really know what the second thing you said means, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that the first week event is actually Warren Hills and not Mount Olive. I think I heard you guys say Mount Olive. That's my only comment.
They were flipped?
Yeah, Mount Olive is the second, and then if we do good at both of those competitions, we go to MAR, which is Mid-Atlantic Regionals.
Okay, so the one on March 6th is
Warren Hills.
Warren Hills. My apologies.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
No, I appreciate the clarification.
Thank you.
That's it, you can't go. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items? Right, seeing none. Next, we have enrollments are there for everybody's information. Nothing too terribly new or exciting there. Do we have any comment, discussion? Seeing none, moving on to approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 15th meeting?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We've got Paula, we've got Andrew. And we can do a roll call. Oh, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. All right, moving on to business and finance. Do we have a motion to approve the business and finance report as presented?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Paula, Laura? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Moving along, we have the superintendent's report. Do you have anything to report?
Motion to approve the personnel report as presented.
Motion to approve? Second?
See, that's why I have to separate you.
Carrie and me.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the personnel report? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
I'm going to mess you up here. I'm going to abstain because my sister is on there as a support substitute.
Gotcha.
All right.
And the second one is motion to approve conference attendant as presented. I just want to point out for our security director, Mr. Seberg, that nonviolent crisis intervention. That's so he can be a train-the-trainer for our school district to get recertified.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
We have Andrew, we have Laura. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shearick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Under committee reports, have any committees met or do we need to have any committees meet? I will put out notification that there will be lots of meetings for some of the negotiation committees. We are actively opened in negotiation for our teachers' contract for this year that is expiring this summer. And our Act 93 contract is in active negotiations. So there'll be lots of meetings for those. We aren't generally going to report every date for any of those meetings because we meet a lot. But those negotiations are started for the year.
Also not open to the public.
And they're not open to the public, yeah. I don't believe we're gonna need to have a committee meeting about it, but I believe that we've hit a point where our administrators are fully capable of vetting volunteers to go on field trips and things like that without board voting on them. So between now and the next meeting, we will be revisiting our policy for volunteers to determine how can we make it less laborious for families that want to be involved with their kids, but still maintain the intention behind safety and security for our students in our district. And we will be maintaining that every meeting, anybody who's been added to, no matter what happens, anybody who's been added to the volunteer list will be listed in an informational document every meeting so that the community knows who's being approved to be around the students as well. So watch out for that coming up. It'll take 2 meetings to vote it to have it be changed. So we won't actually see an active change in that before the April meeting at the earliest, but that is something that we're going to be looking at. And I feel like that's probably something that most of the community and staff can get behind, because we don't want there to be unnecessary barriers to parent engagement and family engagement. Anything else on committees that you guys want to discuss? Okay, we have somehow managed to have no unfinished business. I bet you there's some people that would argue about that, but anyway. New business, we have informational documents are there for everyone's review, the right to knows, the visa, and the school substitute rate. Any discussion on any of those items? Okay. Item B, under new business, the bus and van contracts. Can we get a motion to approve bus and van contracts as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, that's Mrs. Dr. O'Shearick.
Just pick anybody.
All right, there's Paula.
You let Andrew have
Okay.
That was all of them. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shearick?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Letter C, it was amended in the earlier vote to include both of the existing field trips and the additional field trip for the robotics team that first weekend in March to an out-of-state field trip.
Warren Hills, New Jersey.
Warren Hills, New Jersey. So do we have a motion to approve the out-of-state overnight field trips as presented and amended?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Paula and Laura. Any discussion? Good luck to everybody. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Shearick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Approval of agreements. So under this item, we have an early college program agreement with Luzerne County Community College, an on-site Spark Scholar Program agreement with Wilkes University, an agreement with Mirkey to provide mobile crisis response and stabilization services for students as needed, an agreement with the Gregory Center for consultation services for students as needed, and a PSBA contract for professional services for compensation analysis of professional staff. Does anybody have an objection to voting these items as a lump sum? Seeing none, Do we have a motion to approve the agreements as presented?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item E, I'm looking for a motion to approve a settlement agreement and release for student 65688454426.
Motion to approve?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item F, motion to approve the 26-27 Luzerne Intermediate Unit budget as presented.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item G, the fuel oil bid. Do we have a motion to approve the 26-27 KPN fuel bid as presented?
Motion to approve?
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. Is Mr. Sapolsky out there?
Yeah. Mr. Shapolsky, could you go to the podium, please?
I didn't see him. I was just texting him.
Would it be in our interest to look at converting the admin building to natural gas?
There'd certainly be a savings in the long term. You know, a lot of it would depend upon what we do with the solar as well, as to how we do that conversion. Because if we move forward with the solar, ideally it would probably be better to transition to an electric source. If we switch from oil to gas, there'd definitely be a savings long term. The initial investment in the capital over time would certainly balance out. So I guess the short answer is yes.
Okay.
It would just depend on what path that we would decide to take.
Okay, because I know we've had problems with that boiler before, so I was just thinking ahead, that's all.
They're definitely aged.
Yes, and I mean, full disclosure, Mr. Shapolsky has spoken to me multiple times about the boiler at the administration building, and my thing is always, I want to spend money at our schools and not at the administration building. So I'm going to take most of that blame.
Appreciate
Well, there's
it.
also,
You're welcome.
we've had the enrollment study done, and now we're having the
building
capacity
capacity
study
study.
done. Because there was also like the possibility of, is there a future that's not too far down the road that we don't need that building? So do we want to invest that much into it? But I think preliminary things are indicating we probably will be staying in that building, so the more, between that and the solar, there's
Right,
more to come.
the administration building, obviously, the biggest piece of that we struggle without is actually the maintenance part and the maintenance shed and the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
They're the three parts.
They don't need heat though.
No, but he comes to me quite often. He's like, "Hey, we got to take a look at this." I was like, "Nah, go to one, put it in one of the schools." So this might be our opportunity to actually look at that, because I know within the next month or two we're going to be actually making a decision on the viability of the solar project moving forward. So that might also be an opportunity then to start looking at that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good call, Andrew. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none.
This just puts us in play. When they put the bids out there, this doesn't give us the actual bid price at this point.
Yeah.
Just a point of reference.
All right. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. And last, I guess this document actually is already available online as part of the agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the independent audit of Murphy, Doherty, no relation. He's been doing our audits since before I was on the board. Murphy, Doherty and Company for the 2024-2025 school year.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion to discuss, a second. Any discussion?
I will always say it, no relation to this Doherty.
Nope.
No, it's just, we are in a strong position, as Paul mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I do feel that it's worth just mentioning that we're in a strong position. There were a couple factors that went into that. As you know, this is for the 24-25 school year.
Correct.
So this was before the tax increase that these numbers were affecting, but we didn't have those numbers yet. So we made the best decisions that we could based on the information that was available to us to pass a budget last year. It may have been different if we could have, if we knew that so many different things were going to come together to change what we had projected. It's in a positive way, and that's why we'll be able to do a zero. Like, we're all pretty committed, short of some random horrible thing happening, to a zero increase this year. We have to pass a budget before we're done spending money for that year, for the next year. And we don't have all the information. We didn't know how much the state was going to give us because they didn't have to pass their budget apparently until several months later. So there was no intention on the part of the board to have the biggest tax raise last year that we've had while I've been on the board. We usually try to keep it very minimal or zero. And then also come back to you almost a year later and say, we had a great year the year before. That wasn't.
It was like a perfect storm of revenue. It was not one large revenue source.
Right.
Our investments performed exceptionally well, and probably about 10 or 12 revenue sources all overperformed what was expected.
And when they provide the numbers to us, I mean, you're doing a lot of projections, a lot of guesswork. And there's a lot of different things you're looking at. So you can be off a bit in several areas, which you were. But I mean, it's guesswork.
It is. It really is. It's taking our best educated, guess at it.
And we can't, we have to predict conservatively. We can't predict that the markets are going to do really well and we're going to have returns that are higher than expected, and then not have that come through because then we're short on money. So, I
mean, we've benefited from the inverted yield in CDs for the last couple of years. That's coming to a close. As interest rates drop, that goes away. So there's been a lot of positives as far as on our revenue side, other than the state not giving it to us.
I hope that the zero tax increase projected for next year is the headline. All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Do we take a motion?
Oh, do we get a motion? I thought we had one. Yeah.
All right, I missed it. Who seconded it?
Me, probably.
Okay.
It wasn't Carrie, so I think it was me.
Okay. All right, roll call. Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. All right, with that, we're on to public comment. Do we have public comment on non-agenda items or agenda items, or how much you like the new setup of the state? Like, whatever makes you happy.
First of all, I'd like to think of a good friend that passed away from Milk Lake, Arden Tewksbury, served 64 years, the longest public serving school board in the country. Number two, the KPN bid, because right now I know fuel oil is well over $1 more than it was last fall. I hope they can make the bid so it's worthwhile. And my last thing, when talking about the boilers there in the admin, back when we renovated Mill City the last time, we had an engineer in who we started working in the administration building, and I asked him what size boilers would take care of that building. He said 55 horsepower. I said, well, that's great, because they replaced the boilers in Mill City, and I said we could bring them up here. I had a couple board members say, no, you can't. But if you go out on this plaque out here across from the main doors, I know most of those board members when this building was built. And at the time when they tore the old Mill City Falls Overfield School down, they took that boiler out of there that had been there for many years, and it was up to in Mahopany, even running good after we got rid of the building. And at that time, those Cleaver Brooks boilers would have been worth quite a bit to sell, which would have paid for most of, to convert to hot water. That was something I pushed for, but I had a couple board members say, no, you can't do that. I tried.
Thanks, Bill. Any other public comment on anything? Hello?
Hi.
Hello, my name's Abraham Kukuchka. I'm from Eaton Township, and I was picking my kids up from the swim, listening on YouTube with everybody else that listens on YouTube to Paul's opening dialect or speech. I brought my kids here, Paul. They're hiding, you know. They don't want to be embarrassed by me right now. They love these folks over here, because that's who protects them during school hours. Do you want to go over that again? The, how children are removed from a classroom, how their behavioral issue is a health issue, and that is why sometimes students might be sitting out in a hallway for 15 minutes, not 3 to 5. A little help sometimes, that does help. Not 3 to 5, and when it happens 20 times a day, in one building or 15 times a day in one building. I'm not saying removing the students, but I'm saying a student with an issue inside of one classroom. How do you find out about that? Are you informed at the end of each day, hey, we had one dropkick Murphy here on Tuesday, we had a sidekick on Wednesday, whatever horrible happened in Utah? Like, how are you filled in on what goes on during the day at Tunkhannock Area School District?
Well,
From these
I just
folks.
I want to intervene just because this is public comment, but we've made it a policy to not go back and forth, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, I know.
He opened up with his speech, and it wasn't part of the beforehand, so I'm...
Oh, no, I know, you can make public comment, but we just don't go back and forth with question and answer. So like that's a take it offline.
Gotcha. Okay. Can he follow up on his comments?
I mean, you guys can follow up separate from the meeting unless he has a preference to talk about that now, but we've made it pretty, it's public comment to the board, not any particular one person on anything you want to talk about, but it's not in a question and answer.
Okay. I can't direct it at the board because you are not in the school.
But it's a board meeting, so if you want to talk to the superintendent, then I would say give him a call or set up.
Well, I'm addressing his minutes his report, superintendent report that he gave to the school board.
I understand, Abe, like, you got 4 minutes, say whatever you want to say, but it's not a back and forth.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's where it ends. So, all right, Paul, thank you.
Any other public comment?
I mean, I don't know what's public or not public, but it's, you know, like, you have data that doesn't look like 20 times a day, so like, I think
They're talking about different things.
Okay, all right. I just wanted, all right.
Hi, I already introduced myself. My name is Maddie McCross, and I'm a former student here. And I wanted to touch on a subject that is, I guess I haven't really heard spoken about in Tunkhannock Area High School. I've only been here since 7th grade, and I'm no longer in the school district. I wanted to ask if I would be able to present a speech or presentation on sex crimes, because we have, there's been a history, I think, 2 teachers who have been fired, and I think 1 has been tried for grooming students in the high school. And I'm not at all blaming, because it was only that person's fault, or those people's fault. And I want to help the students of Tunkhannock Area School District feel safe to speak up about this and know their resources and know exactly what exactly a sex crime is or what sexual harassment is, because I feel like it's a very important issue, and 1 in 3 women worldwide and 1 in 5 women experience some kind of sexual harassment or crime. That's all I want to bring up. Oh, and also I would you guys touched on restrictive movements. I've had to utilize a couple of those, and I would like to say that I find them very useful, and it's very comfortable to know that there's not going to be anyone in the hallway when I have to be escorted to the hospital, or know that if something had happened to another student, there's not going to be 50 of them surrounding the student. That's all that I wanted to bring up.
Thank you for that feedback. I would say anything that you would be interested in having done or doing in a building is the first step would be to talk to the building administrator. So, they could tell you what's already being done or what could be, so that would be the first step in that conversation.
Who's the building administrator for, is it like the president? Or, I'm sorry, the principal?
The principal, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
The principal for whatever building, you're thinking. So they can give you information about what's already offered there and things like that for that discussion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other board comment?
I would just like to say, Mr. Kukuchka stepped out. I appreciate him coming and speaking. I have an excellent relationship with Mr. Kukuchka. My data does not support his comment.
I believe you're talking about two different things, though.
Maybe that's the case. When there is a restricted movement, it's not, we actually have an app that everybody gets notified through. So we can track what's going on in our buildings. I don't like to go into details about our security, because that's maintaining details is what helps keep us safe. But when there's an event that goes into our security app, yeah, I get a notification.
I believe he's talking about an incident in individual classrooms where there's a student that's acting out, and the students from that classroom are taken and put in the hallway while the student that is having an episode is dealt with, and those wouldn't be restricted movements or stuff like that. So, I just want to be fair that, I believe that's what he's talking about, which is different than what we were talking about.
But my administrative team is here, and I could comfortably say that happening that many times, as it was said, is, I've not been notified of that, and I think they would have notified me if that was the case. But I have a great deal of respect for Mr. Kukuchka, and like I said, he and I get along very well, and I'd gladly speak to him about it further, because maybe we are talking about two different things.
Any other comment, or do we have a motion to adjourn? I forgot to mention earlier, the board will be returning to a short executive session after this meeting for personnel matters.
Motion
Do we have
to
a
adjourn?
Motion.
Motion